I want you to stop. Just stop everything. I know that cuts against every single thing you've been building towards since you were old enough to want something. But I spent the first 45 years of my life trying to manufacture happiness like it was a product on an assembly line. I engineered it. I optimized it. I chased it across 3 decades and 2 continents. And it nearly put me in the ground. I am 82 now. And the exact moment I finally stopped running, the moment I accepted being what the world would call a complete nobody, that is the precise moment real life finally walked through the door. You are dragging a weight around that you don't even see. Sit down for a minute. Let me show you where it came from. Look at me now. I live in an old timber cabin up in the hills with a wood stove that smokes when the wind blows wrong. I don't own any stocks. I don't have a retirement portfolio that would impress a soul. I wear the same 4 flannel shirts until the elbows blow out, but I wasn't always this person. Back in 1963, I was sitting in a lecture hall at Harvard Business School. I was the golden boy. Polished shoes, pressed suit. The entire roadmap to success was laid out before me like a red carpet. I was supposed to conquer something, and I remember watching the executives who came back to address us men with empires, men with floors named after them, men who had caught every rabbit worth catching. And their eyes were hollow. Completely hollow. I thought I was imagining it. I was 23. What did I know? So I played the game anyway. And here is what I figured out too late. You physically cannot build a $1 trillion global economy out of people who wake up feeling satisfied. So they had to invent a disease. And that disease has exactly one symptom, the unshakable feeling that you are always one step behind, always incomplete, always missing something just out of reach. They told us happiness was a destination, a finish line, but they charged admission at every gate and the finish line kept moving. I spent the late 60s working the night shift at a diner down in New Orleans. I used to watch tech executives fly in for conferences, the men who'd built things, who'd arrived. They had the watches, the tailored suits. They'd gotten everything on the list, but I'd bring them their coffee and look at their faces. They were terrified. Not quietly worried, genuinely, deeply terrified, because they'd purchased every item, the penthouse, the corner office, the car in the garage cost more than most people's houses, and the emptiness was still there. The hole had not closed. So what did they do? They told themselves they just needed more. A bigger title, a second home, another zero on the end of the number. It is a sickness, a gilded hamster wheel, a velvet trap with very good lighting. When you decide to simply sit on a front porch with a mug of cheap coffee and feel perfectly fine about it, you become impossible to sell to. They cannot frighten a man who doesn't need anything. They cannot manipulate a woman who has already arrived. Your quiet contentment is an act of rebellion they cannot monetize. Now, my generation, we were foolish enough to think money alone would do it. That was our particular stupidity. But what they are doing to you today, God, It is so much more sophisticated. It is genuinely sinister because now they don't just sell you products, they sell you the project of becoming an optimized version of yourself. I hear young people talk when I come down from the hills. They've got devices strapped to their wrists, measuring the architecture of their sleep. They've got applications scheduling their moments of stillness. They believe that if they rise at 4:15 inches the morning and plunge into freezing water and consume the correct sequence of supplements, their brain will finally produce the correct chemical signature of peace. You are trying to solve a spiritual wound with a spreadsheet. And every self-help book you read and every new goal you set and every influencer you follow is another brick dropped into the backpack you're carrying. I need a 6-figure income. Brick. I need a perfect morning routine. Brick. I need to find my singular, burning life purpose. Brick. You are exhausted because you are carrying 300 pounds up a mountain that nobody asked you to climb. And here is the thing, nobody in the business of selling you things will ever say out loud. You can simply set the backpack down. The moment you put it on the ground, the mountain disappears. When you turn happiness into a project, you engineer the possibility of failing at it. Now you are not just unhappy, you are a failure at being happy. You feel guilty about the sadness you were supposed to have fixed by now. And every night you open that glowing rectangle in your hand and watch 8 billion people performing the best possible version of themselves for a camera younger, richer, more radiant than you. And you sit there silently hating your own authentic life because it doesn't look like their rehearsed one. I will tell you something I have learned from 82 years on this earth. The people who have to broadcast their happiness the loudest are almost always the ones drowning the quietest. Now let me tell you what nobody is selling, because there is no money in it. Happiness is not over there. It is not behind the next promotion or inside the next house. It is not waiting at the summit of any mountain. It is right here, right now, directly in front of your face. That woman sitting across from you at the kitchen table in the morning, the one who has weathered every storm beside you, who showed up on your worst days and didn't leave. Who knows which version of you is real and loves it anyway? Do you actually see her? Do you sit across from her in the morning and think, even for 1 second, that this person, this ordinary Tuesday, is the thing people spend lifetimes searching for? Or are you too busy staring at your screen, planning the next version of yourself? Those children who come through the front door after school, loud and bright-eyed and bursting with the small urgent dramas of their day, calling your name before they've even put their shoes down. There are people on this earth who would hand over everything they've ever accumulated just to have that moment once. And you have it every single afternoon, and you are barely in the room for it. That job that doesn't pay like a tech salary but lets you come home at a real hour, lets you sleep through the night without a device vibrating next to your head, lets you sit at dinner without your mind already being somewhere else entirely. That is not settling. That is not a consolation prize. That is the thing people spend their entire careers trying to buy their way back to. The simplicity you are embarrassed by is what the exhausted and the wealthy are desperately trying to purchase. That morning, any morning when you wake up without urgency and walk outside, and the light is doing something quiet and extraordinary to the trees, and the air is cold and clean, and your coffee is hot in your hands, and nothing is required of you. There is no optimized version of this that is better than the version you already have. The secret is so simple that an entire industry depends on you never figuring it out. What you already have is enough. It always was. Gratitude is not a practice you schedule into a morning block. It is the thing that arrives the moment you stop moving fast enough to finally see what has been standing right beside you all along. The moment I stopped demanding that life become a better version of itself, the moment I accepted Tuesday exactly as it arrived, something shifted that I still cannot fully explain. The weight lifted, not because anything around me changed, but because I finally stopped fighting what was already there. Tomorrow morning, don't set an alarm to optimize yourself. Don't open an app. Don't track anything. Wake up when you wake up. Make something warm. Look at whoever is at that table with you. Look at them as if you might lose them, because one day you will. And in that moment, you will understand with your whole body that there was never anything missing. Stop trying to build happiness, friend. You are already standing inside it.